Hello guys, it's time. I want to go over the buyer representation and broker agreement because we are approaching July 1st very fast. Today is April the 4th and I just want to make sure everyone's prepared, so I'm going to do a quick video. I'm going to try and keep it as quick as possible, kind of explaining what's going on in the real estate world. Okay, if you don't know, my name is Juwan Rohan. I'm a realtor with Twin Oaks Real Estate. I help first-time home buyers, investors, whatever it is you need, I help. So I'm just gonna go over kind of the changes. So if you've heard about the NAR settlement, you can literally Google it, it's everywhere. There was a settlement between NAR and sellers, and NAR is going to be giving a hefty payout to sellers for representation agreements, and I'll show you kind of how it traditionally worked, and then we'll get into this this paper right here, which is about 3 pages. I want you to understand it because I want to interview as a position for becoming your realtor, and so I'm going to be sending you this form to fill out, look it over, discuss with your partner, and ask me any questions or concerns about it. So let me explain kind of how it was previously, well, how it still is today. So today, realtors like myself can go to what's called the MLS, right? And it can show coming soon homes. It can show homes that are on Zillow right now or withdrawn, anything, right? And we can see what the sellers are offering the buyer's broker, my office, what they're offering for compensation to bring a buyer. So sellers traditionally would offer 2.5%, sometimes 2. It all depends on the deal. If it's a small condo, it could be 1%. It really depends on the deal, but traditionally it's 2.5%. So the seller would offer my office 2.5 of the purchase price if I bring a buyer to them. And how I see that is these right here, this right here. So it's 2.5, 2.5. Okay, it goes all the way down. I think there was a 3 in here. Okay, you got 2.375. You got 3 right here. Okay, so I would be able to see this, and I can show you a home, I can show you multiple homes. I can never have you sign anything, okay? And you can have me show you 20 homes and then disappear, and then we never speak again, right? Like, that's how it would work. Things are changing. Now the sellers and the agents are going to be able to, they're not going to be able to put this in the MLS starting July 1st. This will not be anywhere. So as an agent, what I have to do is I have to call up every agent and say, hey, do you have, is the seller paying any compensation? Okay. If they're not, guess who's liable for that, right? Now you're probably wondering, well, I don't have extra money. Like, buying a home is already unaffordable, and I'm on your side 100%. I think this law is stupid. I think it's very unfortunate for first-time home buyers. So I'm on your side, trust me. But there's going to be some, kind of stalemate in the industry where it's going to be kind of a lot of agents trying to figure things out, and I'm trying to get ahead of it. That's why I'm sending these forms out in April. In all transparency, give you time to start thinking, to start preparing, because it is going to become a little bit more unaffordable. If you're unable to pay my fee, then I'm going to have to negotiate it with the seller, right? Which I can do. I've done it plenty of times, so it's not an issue, but it's just going to be more of a process, okay? And so if they don't have, if they're not offering this service, then you're going to have to pay for it, right, through escrow. And it's very unfortunate, but you might just be thinking, well, I don't need a realtor. Oh yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you want to go to an attorney. Attorneys charge about $300 per hour, so essentially you might end up paying them more to draft up paperwork, right? And what if you're paying a business attorney, right? And they don't know anything about real estate. They don't know the thing about showing a home, what to look for in a home. They're they're attorney, right? So it's gonna get very tricky, and like I said, I want to keep this video short so I can keep going on more about that. But so if this is not, they will not legally be able to put this on the MLS, so we will not know. Okay, so I'll have to call up every agent you want to tour and just ask. And so that leads me to this buyer representation and broker agreement. This is an agreement between you and me, and essentially we are agreeing that if there's nothing in here that the seller is going to pay, you will be responsible for my time and my resources, my knowledge, everything. Okay, and you're probably wondering, well, I don't want to just be stuck with you. What if I don't decide to buy it? That's totally fine. That's totally fine. We can, in the agreement, there's a expiration. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go quickly over this agreement. And if you have any questions or concern, please reach out to me directly. So right here is going to be buyer's name, your name, my broker, because essentially you're paying the broker. You're not paying me, which a lot of people get confused, right? You pay the broker, and then I get a percentage from that. So when people say realtors get paid too much, I would love to break that down for you. Then it's going to start. There's going to be a start date, and there has to be an end date. Okay, so it can be 90 days later. It can be 180, 365 days, right? A year. It has to be an end date. Okay, and then you're agreeing that you have no pre-existing buyer representation agreements. You didn't sign with another realtor. Now I know you're wondering, like, well, what if I work with a bunch of realtors? My family's a realtor, but you bring me deals, right, etc. You can have other agreements. You just have to say it here, okay, in this line. Totally fine. Now it can be property specific, okay, or I guess this would be property specific right here. So if it's like, hey, I only want you to represent me, and I will only pay you if it's on 123 Main Street. That's it, okay? Or it can be location-wise. It can be cities. It can be counties. I will pay you for anything you find me in Solano, Contra Costa, and Alameda. Bingo, okay? Or if you're thinking about Nevada, you can sign a different one with someone in Nevada, right? It's very property. It can be either or. The properties identified on the attached list, we can attach a list and have a bunch of properties that you can pay me for, or the broker. So compensation goes to the broker, okay? Now this was the misconception, and this is why NAR is settling, is sellers thought for whatever reason that this was not negotiable, that the percentage 2.5 was not negotiable. It's always been negotiable. Now I guess the way agents pitched it, maybe, I don't know, but this is negotiable, okay? It's not fixed by law. They are set by each broker individually and made to be negotiable between you and me, okay? So we can agree on something. Buyers agree to pay the broker as followed, okay? Whether it's a percent of the acquisition price, 2.5% of the acquisition price, 2% of the acquisition price, or just a flat rate, right? So you can have that right here in this. I can't highlight it, but number 2, okay? And then kind of it breaks down how you can enter an agreement. There can be a broker right to compensation, okay, which would be a broker involvement, non-exclusive representation. So compensation is payable only if there was broker involvement. If I went and showed you the property, if I sent you disclosures, I get paid. Now if I didn't do any of that, and you went to open house, you didn't do anything, right? You're still gonna have to find someone to represent you. So you go find Joe Smith, right? And you have them represent you, but they're gonna make you sign the agreement anyways, because that's the law. Any realtors going forward in July 1st cannot show houses without having this signed. You cannot legally enter a open house without having one of these signed. So no peeking neighbors, no none of that. That's why it's so important. And you don't have to pick your realtor today, right? Like I said, I don't waste a realtor's time, right? Because it's time and money driving to these appointments, but things are changing. So it can be a non-exclusive representation, but even if you go to an open house starting July 1st, you're going to have to sign with someone. So you might end up signing with a random person there. And typically in California, they're not going to do dual agency because there's a lot of liability between there. So then you can have buyer acquisition I don't know what I was saying, exclusive representation, which means we sign this, you go, I can let you go talk to whoever you want to, and you tour homes on your own. I can show you homes. Whatever happens, I'm entitled to compensation. This is ideally what we'd want, right? If you're uncomfortable with this, then I totally understand, and we can talk and maybe do non-exclusive and then transfer into exclusive. Remember, I'm not trying to tie you down. Like, if you end up not buying a house, I'm not gonna hold you to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this they're just forcing us to do this. So we have cancellation of buyer representation agreement. Obviously, if you want to cancel, we both just do it in writing, and you know, you're off to the races. I to me, having a realtor that just like is like keeping you down, that's a little kind of red flaggish. So kind of the accounting. I like this one. If anyone other than the buyer compensates broker for services covered by this agreement, the amount shall be credited towards buyer's obligation to pay compensation. So if you're like, hey, Juwan, I'll pay you if you find us this dream home, but look, I really, really want you to negotiate with the seller's agent to have them pay for it. I'm gonna do that. I got you, right? So I'm gonna go and negotiate it, and if they pay, guess what? You're kind of off the hook, right? So like if we agree to 2.5% and they pay 2.5%, then there we go, problem solved, right? So that's why I really like this, and these forms will probably change in the next few months, so we probably have to sign something again after they incorporate it. I know they're working on it right now, but it's going to take a few months for legal to kind of go through the words and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, well, I can sign this form, get it over, I can have him show me 50,000 homes, and then boom, I find the home I want, and then I put it in writing that I want to cancel this, and then I go purchase that home, right? Yeah, it's not that easy, okay? So there's a little clause right here that says additional broker right to compensation. It means like, if you find the home and then we cancel this agreement, I can put in here, there's such and such, well, we can put in, there's such and such days. So where if you cancel the agreement and then you buy the home in 2 days, you know, I might still be entitled to that, right? We can put 30 days. After 30 days, you know, on the 31st day, you can go behind my back and buy the home, right? Now, yeah, I mean, I've seen people do this, which is crazy, but go behind the person's back, but it doesn't happen often. So that's something right there. And then obviously this is paid through escrow, so it's an extra closing cost. If you're unfamiliar with the process, you know, you have your down payment, you have your closing cost, which is typically 2 to 3% of the purchase price, and then tagging on another percentage to the closing cost. So that's what this paragraph right here is for. That's pretty much it. I mean, everything else is kind of just, you know, standards and legal jargon, but I did want to keep this as short as possible. I'll probably be talking about it a bunch more, so please reach out if you have any questions, and I would like to discuss signing this with you and interviewing to be your realtor and only your realtor. So reach out if you have any questions. Please respond if you want to get this signed, and let's go home shopping.